Social media doesn't just react anymore. It amplifies, distorts, and sometimes completely reshapes a story before the truth has a chance to catch up. That's exactly what happened when speculation began to swirl around 50 Cent and a controversial documentary leak that suddenly put T.I. and his family under an intense public microscope. What started as whispers quickly escalated into a full-blown digital storm, with reaction videos, threads, and hot takes flooding every major platform. But this wasn't just another celebrity clash. It felt more personal, more invasive, and far more complicated than the usual headlines. At the center of the chaos was a narrative that no one fully understood, yet everyone seemed eager to dissect. The documentary leak acted like a spark in dry grass, igniting conversations that spread rapidly and uncontrollably. People weren't just watching, they were choosing sides, forming opinions, and, in many cases, jumping to conclusions without context. The situation quickly became less about facts and more about perception, and perception, especially online, can be dangerously powerful. As the noise grew louder, one voice began to emerge with clarity and purpose: King Harris. Unlike the countless commentators speculating from the outside, King was directly connected to the heart of the situation. This wasn't just content for him. It was his family, his reality, and his father's legacy on the line. From the beginning, he understood that this wasn't something to approach casually. Every word, every reaction, every moment of silence carried weight. Initially, King chose restraint. He observed. He listened. He watched as clips circulated online, often stripped of context, reshaped by commentary, and repackaged to fit whatever narrative was gaining traction at the moment. It didn't take long for him to realize that silence, while often powerful, was in this case allowing misinformation to take root. And once a distorted narrative settles in the public mind, correcting it becomes exponentially harder. The longer he stayed quiet, the more the story seemed to drift away from reality. People began connecting dots that didn't necessarily belong together, interpreting fragments as full truths, and building entire theories on incomplete information. It became clear that if he didn't step in, the narrative would continue evolving without any grounding in truth. For King, this wasn't just about defending his father. It was about reclaiming control over a story that was spiraling out of control. When King Harris finally broke his silence, it wasn't impulsive. It wasn't emotional in a chaotic sense. It was measured, intentional, and undeniably impactful. He addressed the rumors directly, pushing back against the assumptions that had taken over social media. His tone struck a balance, firm but not reckless, emotional yet composed. He made it clear that while public figures are subject to scrutiny, there is a line that should not be crossed, especially when it comes to family. His response resonated instantly. Within hours, clips of his statement were everywhere. People weren't just listening, they were reacting, debating, and reevaluating their own perspectives. What made his message stand out wasn't just the content, but the authenticity behind it. It didn't feel like a PR move or a calculated attempt to control damage. It felt real. And in a space often dominated by performative reactions, realness cuts through the noise. Meanwhile, 50 Cent took a very different approach. He said nothing. And that silence, it spoke volumes. Known for his strategic mindset and ability to control narratives without always engaging directly, his lack of response became a story in itself. People began analyzing the silence as if it were a statement. Was it confidence? Was it intentional provocation? Or was it simply a calculated move to let the chaos build on its own? This absence of a response created a vacuum, and as always, the internet rushed to fill it. Theories multiplied. Assumptions deepened. Every passing day without a comment from him only intensified the speculation. In a way, he maintained control of the narrative without ever stepping into it directly. A reminder that in the digital age, silence can be just as powerful as words. As the situation evolved, older clips and past interactions began resurfacing. Interviews that once seemed insignificant were now being re-examined under a new lens. Social media posts from years ago were suddenly relevant again. It was as if the internet had collectively decided to investigate every possible angle, searching for patterns, clues, and hidden meanings. What initially appeared to be a single controversy began to unfold into something much deeper. A layered history of relationships, perceptions, and unresolved tensions. For T.I., the situation carried significant weight. His public image, built over years of music, influence, and cultural impact, was now being questioned in ways that extended beyond entertainment. And while he remained relatively quiet compared to the noise surrounding him, his presence loomed large over the entire situation. Every discussion ultimately circled back to him, his legacy, and what the documentary might reveal or misrepresent. King Harris found himself navigating a complex and emotionally charged environment. On one hand, he needed to protect his father's reputation. On the other, he had to engage with an audience that was already divided and emotionally invested. It wasn't just about speaking, it was about speaking effectively. One wrong move could escalate the situation further, while the right message could shift the entire tone of the conversation. At the same time, the public began grappling with a broader question. Where is the line between truth and exploitation? Documentaries by nature are meant to reveal, to expose, to tell stories that might otherwise remain hidden. But when those stories involve deeply personal family matters, the ethical boundaries become less clear. Is revealing uncomfortable truths a form of accountability, or does it cross into unnecessary intrusion? This question fueled much of the debate online. Some argued that public figures, by virtue of their fame, open themselves up to scrutiny, even in their personal lives. Others pushed back, insisting that family dynamics should remain private, regardless of celebrity status. The conversation moved beyond the individuals involved and into a larger discussion about media ethics, audience responsibility, and the culture of consumption that thrives on controversy. Throughout it all, social media functioned like a living organism, constantly evolving, reacting, and amplifying. Every new post added fuel to the fire. Influencers weighed in with their takes, blogs published breakdowns of every statement, and meme culture found ways to inject humor into an otherwise serious situation. It was chaotic, unpredictable, and in many ways unavoidable. Yet amid the noise, moments of clarity emerged. People began stepping back, recognizing the human element at the center of the story. Behind the headlines were real individuals dealing with real emotions, pressure, frustration, loyalty, and vulnerability. King Harris's response played a significant role in bringing that humanity back into focus. He reminded people that this wasn't just entertainment, it was personal. As the tension continued to build, the question of what would happen next lingered in the air. Would 50 Cent eventually respond? Would T.I. step forward with his own statement? Or would the situation gradually lose momentum, fading into the endless cycle of online controversies? No one had a clear answer, and that uncertainty kept people engaged. The story wasn't just unfolding, it was evolving in real time, shaped by millions of voices, reactions, and interpretations. It became less of a fixed narrative and more of a dynamic conversation, constantly shifting with each new development. In the end, what made this situation so compelling wasn't just the drama, it was the complexity. It highlighted the delicate balance between public and private life, the power of narrative control, and the emotional toll of living under constant scrutiny. It showed how quickly stories can spiral, how easily perceptions can be manipulated, and how important it is to approach such situations with both critical thinking and empathy. King Harris didn't just defend his family, he shifted the conversation. He forced people to reconsider not just what they were seeing but how they were interpreting it. And in doing so, he added depth to a story that could have easily remained surface-level drama. As things stand, the situation remains unresolved. The tension hasn't fully dissipated, and the possibility of further developments still looms. But one thing is certain, this wasn't just another viral moment. It was a case study in modern media dynamics, a reflection of how stories are told, consumed, and reshaped in the digital age. And perhaps most importantly, it served as a reminder that behind every headline, every clip, and every trending topic, there are real people, navigating real consequences in a world that rarely slows down long enough to consider them.